Neat. Very, very neat. Let's go. Welcome to everyone that will be in past broadcast. I don't know if it's called past broadcast actually when you watch it on Twitch as a VOD, but let's call it like that. Oh, today I'm gonna work on this other project, which reminds me I have to tell the friend of mine, which is also the customer that commissioned this website to me, that I'm live and I'm streaming the development of the website because I promised him. Let me just send this message to him. And there we go. So since nobody came when I started the stream, I think I'll go right away to the programming part because there's no time to lose. It's already 6:34 p.m. here in Italy. So, brief overview of the website. It's again old school stack with a sprinkle of novelty because we are dealing with, let's show you index PHP, regular PHP, old boring PHP, which is awesome if you ask me. I stumbled upon PHP because of another project, the one that I streamed the other day, and I literally didn't know anything about the language itself. I just knew it was the old way of doing web programming, and people were kind of upset with it. Like it's bad, it's old, it's slow, it's everything's wrong with it. And so when I started developing for web, I went to the latest shiny thing, which was React. In that moment, it was about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, 3.5 I guess, and everyone was programming in React, which I assume they still do. Svelte was just becoming a thing, and so I started programming with React, and I also took let me adjust the volume because I guess I'm too loud. I see it almost clipping at times. I thought it was a good idea to work with React because I had JavaScript, I mean TypeScript, both on the front end and the back end, Next.js, stuff like that. Also, it allowed me to develop for mobile smartphones. And one viewer. Who's the lucky first arrival? Introduce yourself if you want. If you don't do it. Maybe it's Lorenzo. No, he's not. And well, I was saying I developed a couple applications with a React Native actually, and I hated every minute of it. I mean, it was kind of cool to see your application running on the mobile phone, but I also noticed that it was breaking all the time because of many changes, many updates. In 6 months I was developing, I had to update Expo many times. A lot of things needed you to go with I don't even remember how they were called. I guess the external packages that were not supported by Expo directly, so you had to install them with native code. It was bad. You were working on something that you weren't even actually sure it would have worked the moment you were ready to ship it. So I said, screw that. And also, because I ended up working for this client that had this website completely, I mean, not built from scratch. There were a few dependencies, but very few on the back end, and just the classical Bootstrap jQuery on the front end, which are both too heavy for my personal taste, but whatever. It was done like that, and I had to adapt and work on that project, even because there were not many clients at that time, and I mean, they were paying and they needed constant work on the system, so there's that. And there I learned to program the old-fashioned way. So you write PHP that produces simple HTML, so you just, what's it called, server-side rendering. It didn't need a name 20 years ago because it was the only option. You didn't have any kind of front-end rendering or client-side rendering. You just had the server-side one, and then the moment the HTML hit the client, the browser, then it was JavaScript land. So the interactions, they were in vanilla JavaScript, not really vanilla JavaScript, because as I said, they use jQuery, but it's pretty trivial to move from one to the other and back. jQuery has a little better ergonomics, a little much better. It's less verbose, it's filled with useful stuff, but it's too heavy. So where I can, whenever I can, I mean, it's not too heavy per se. It's not modular. I'm having not that I tried very much, but I'm having a hard time separating jQuery in smaller pieces and use just the thing that I need. So you just have to import the one file, and I'd like to stay more lightweight. If you go with vanilla JavaScript, you have two advantages. First of all, you learn the browser API, so it's more than portable because it's the thing. It won't change. It won't change. They will just add something to it, but you don't have anything. You don't rely on third-party code. I mean, you do because you're programming against an API, but still. The disadvantage is that if there are some rough patches, meaning that between browsers something behaves a little differently, you will have to handle it by yourself. But I mean, first of all, I enjoy it because I get to know what is actually happening. There's no middleman between me and the browser, which is the platform I'm programming on. And also, as the time goes on, you kind of build your own library of utilities, and they work, and you get to refine them, and they grow in a way that the API is exactly what you need, and if it's not what you need anymore, you just change it slightly because it's your code. Of course, this would require a lot of work if you had to maintain it among many projects, but if you let every project just kind of take its direction, and if you work mainly on one project, it's just your single instance of your toy. More than a toy, it's just your product. And it's fine like that. You grow more experienced about it, and you really know everything that's going on. You don't have weird behaviors that you have to track down by, you have to pin by reading and exploring someone else's library, which may or may not be programmed in a way that you find comfortable. I mean, the more we go up, there's happening something. People are getting back to procedural programming, but there's a lot of OOP crap around, and I really can't stand all the jumps and small function and stuff, because programming the old-fashioned way, I found out that it works very well. I kind of tried it because I was going full OOP, full test-driven development and stuff, and I was slow, and it was killing me. Clients were not tolerating it very much because I was very slow. Code quality, bug-wise, was good because I took all the time to make sure stuff were working. But when crunch time came, I cut corners and cutted. I don't remember which was the past of cut. Forgive me. To cut. I mean, it's cut, right? Cut. Cut. Yeah. I had to cut corners, and well, I guess the thing I learned is that when you start not filling your code with harnesses because you want to be sure you're not making mistakes, you start finding first more clever ways to prevent problems or to catch them when they happen. I decided that I'd rather have a code that breaks, but I have try catches or handlers for errors that log very well what was happening so that I can respond quickly. So in a way, I'm accepting a higher rate of errors, but I want to be 100% sure I'm able to reconstruct what happened even in production, even on my live server, and then fix it. So that's a little bit more I learned it's the American way. I don't know if it's actually true. It's maybe just a stereotype, but they say that in that Facebook, for example, that not that Facebook is necessarily good software. I mean, it's not because it's broken. Meta Business Suite and all the stuff, it's slow, broken, it's full of sketchy stuff. But I know for people say that they kind of delete tests, yeet the code to production, and if it breaks in production, they will fix it. And I mean, if you're not careless, if you still put a good amount of testing in what you do, and by testing I mean even manual testing where automated testing is not feasible, and then it breaks because it happened in such a weird way that you didn't predict, just learn to predict it better, just understand why you didn't predict it and move on, fix it and go on. You have a so faster rollout time to production, and that's the first thing. The second thing is that when you start writing code without being scared at every corner, you find out what actually scares you and what you're confident with. I mean, there's some parts of the code you're writing and you're just whatever, man. I'm fine with it. I know I can't get this thing that much wrong because I did it and did it and I made it 5 times in a row, and I know how to build it. I won't mess it up. So you start having these kind of areas of your code where you're more comfortable in saying, yeah, it's working. I this is not where I have to focus, where I have to lose my time in automated testing and stuff like that. And then there are parts that are more tricky, and you say, this I must be more careful, more I mean, fine-grained in how I test it, in how I log stuff, in how I debug if you're using a debugger, because I want to be 100% sure I got this right, because maybe it's the first time I do it, so it's new. I kind of have to warm up to get my feet wet with what can happen. There are many things that you wouldn't expect to happen, and they happen. And you know, the moment you go like this and just settle on a very stable stack with very stable tools that do not change, they change kind of once a year, and when they change, they're just adding functionality which you can even ignore if you don't like them. If you don't like it, I mean, I went back to full procedural in PHP, so I don't really mind about classes, traits, stuff like that. Even if they added traits some time ago, a couple of years ago, whatever, I'm not using them, so I don't have to study that because I don't care. If I will ever need it, because I will work with some code that someone else wrote, and I have to understand traits deeply, I will go and study how traits work. Simple as that. This allows me to move forward, because the sensation I had with React it was that I wasn't even able to catch up with how the entire system worked. The fact that React was actually just working on this kind of shadow DOM they have, and then there was this other part that was the final rendering part that was different between React DOM. React DOM was different from React Native, and there were other possibilities. And then they introduced server-side components or whatever. I don't even remember what was that. It was right at the moment I just ditched React for good. Sometime before they changed, before I got to React, before I got to web development, they changed from classes to functional React, so everything was a hook or a use state or whatever. They keep changing the paradigm so much. You have to keep up with their kind of paradigm they're creating. It's not even just functionality, it's actually the way they want you to program the thing. And so it becomes a patchwork, because you're not, I mean, you will see it becomes a patchwork even if you work the way I do, because I'm growing and so I'm experimenting new things. And right now I'm going back to just making everything I require once and having a simple module without autoload, without namespaces. I don't care if the function name is this long, because I have the names. I have to encode the namespace in the function name. I really don't care, because I tried PHP namespaces and I probably didn't get them right. But I mean, I don't know. There was something that was not working. I don't even recall. I just said whatever. Easier to go the C style route, where you include a file and you go on from there. And you find that working like this, you cover ground. You you start that you are not an engineer, you don't know how to program for the web, and then as time goes on, you learn more and more things, and they are not changing under your feet because it's HTTP, because it's vanilla JavaScript, because it's vanilla CSS, because it's PHP, which is kind of the same since 1997. Not really like that, but I mean, the basics are those. And when you're comfortable with for loops and ifs, else's, switches, you have what you need, variables and stuff. You get better. So this was kind of a long introduction, actually. I didn't expect to be this long. What I was working on here is this custom e-commerce, where I'm more in charge of the functionality, the style, the final touch was my wife's work, actually, because we kind of splitted the work, since I have other projects to focus on, and it's not even finished, if you can see, because the pictures are not the finals. The client has to send me those. We are not done, and in fact you can see that we didn't even finish the style perfectly here. That this picture is not the same size of this picture, so they're not aligned. And also same on the bottom, so don't take it for finished. To-dos everywhere, but there's something that I'm pretty proud about up until this point, which is the shop, because if you go to the shop, again, we don't have any widget to change images, to move between images, and this stuff is pretty much hard-coded. We will need to add some little bit of a CMS for it. This picture here is not the picture we want it to be, because it will be more explanatory of what these dimensions mean. But this panel is kind of good and working, and also it should be good enough in mobile too. Yeah, it is. It actually is. It works fine down to 320 pixels. And everything is PHP, HTMX, very procedural. You will see how I program the backend in a moment. I'm kind of in a love-hate affair with HTMX right now. It's a really good idea. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a very good idea. I'm not sure it will work well latency-wise, because the server will be running on a VPS. I find that from an engineering standpoint, so just focusing on which device is running the code, maybe the moment I rendered the HTML and sent you the JS and CSS and stuff, I'd rather have the JavaScript on the front end, and then all the state is on the front end, and when you submit the form, you will update the state of the application on the back end, whilst having HTMX in the room means that you keep changing the state on the back end, and it gets pretty, I don't know, it's not spaghetti. I move very well around that, but it starts to be a little bit noisy on the back end, if you know what I mean, because you have so much in one place. You render the HTML, and that HTML also has all the tags from HTMX, that all the attributes that makes it work. So I don't know if I'm gaining or not from this. even because stuff that was pretty much straightforward to do, like edits of stuff you already put in your card, becomes a little bit more convoluted this way, because the state is on the back end. So I have to actually make a copy of the state on the back end for you to be working on a copy, and then if you're happy with the changes, you submit the copy for it to be to overwrite the original. When on the other side, if you had vanilla JavaScript on the front end, the copy was automatic, because I sent you the HTML, and the moment the DOM is built on the front end, that's a copy of the state which you are manipulating on the front end. So it's not related to what's happening on the back end. Unless you submit the form, nothing about that will touch the back end. So if you just close the tab, nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened. I know nothing about what you did on your front end. And also it's a little bit lighter on the server. But we have still to prove that this thing is heavy on the back end. For the volume of customers that the company will have. And also, who knows how much time would I would have spent writing JavaScript if I went the classical front end with the vanilla JavaScript route. I have the experience of writing JavaScript on the front end, very fine-grained, very with a lot of minutia on another project, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a real lot of time. Even if you start having animations and stuff that compresses and decompresses, it becomes I mean, you have duplication of logic from backend and frontend, and HTMX prevents that. So I'm not sure if I saved time or not with HTMX. My feeling is that I did, and my feeling is that every time I'm kind of pissed because I have to add some functionality, and then I gather the courage and start doing it, kind of 5 minutes in and it's done, and I'm like, whoa, that's really, it took so little. So let's speak about the features here. You are customizing a display case, a transparent case made of plexiglass, where you put in this case, no pun intended, a helmet, so you can have a very thin base for your case, or a thick base. Maybe if okay, the cache is enabled. If it's thin, you just cannot customize it that much. You can customize the plexiglass, meaning that you will be able to print stuff on the plexiglass. So for example, you can have this imagine this case having the helmet inside, and maybe you print the inside of the case on the further end of the case, so you have kind of a background for your helmet. You can even print more than one side. Just the thing that one side must still be transparent, because if not, you can watch inside. But you may buy this case and stuck it in a wall, so you don't need 5 sides of it to be four sides of it to be transparent. They can be opaque, and so you can print on them. Just the one that exposed to the viewer can be transparent. So there you just decide that you will go and print on 4 out of 5 sides, which are right, left, front, rear, and the top, the ceiling. And you can see that locks the fifth side if you're picked 4, because we want to prevent the user from buying a case that's not working some way. And also this locked because don't mind the price, it's just placeholder numbers, powers of 2, so it's not real. And if you don't load the images here, the thing won't work. You can't add to the cart. So also it's telling you what's going on, why it is incomplete. It's telling you that the button is grayed out because you choose to apply graphics, but you didn't load the images. So they instruct you to click on load the image. You have the info, but I just noticed I don't have the cursor. Sorry, I'm not showing the cursor live. Wait a sec. I'm gonna capture the cursor. Right, done. And here it is. Here you load the image. Here you have particular information about this particular image. I mean, if you watch this picture, you clearly understand that the image you are loading will go on the right side of the helmet if the front is this, the back is this, and you're watching, I mean, left side if you're watching it from the front, right side if you're watching it from the back. And you will also be able to download a template here. There are some how to say, directions, and directions is not the right word. They tell you which format to use. We tell you. And if you pick the thick base, you can customize the base, so you can put lights, RGB lights on the base like this all around the helmet, so it will light up the helmet from the bottom. Either or vertical columns at the corners that will light from the corners the helmet, or both. And they are RGB, and they come with a remote control, which is explained here. And then you can apply graphics to the base, because you can print here, or you can print you can print on the right side. Okay, I have to update the pictures. They're all the same. They shouldn't be. They should be differentiated. And what I want to show you is that if you go full screen, when you hover, it shows you the picture in real time. So there's that. Here is the same. Right side, left side of the helmet, on the front, on the rear, and on the top. Also, if you're willing to help me, I mean, probably I will upload this live stream on YouTube, so that's more for YouTube viewers. Or if someone is here now, what's your opinion about the fact that I call this the right side? Because I'm kind of thinking about, when you're wearing the helmet, this is the right side, but maybe if you're looking at the helmet and the display case, the right side would be on the left ear of the helmet. So which one of the two is best? I don't know. I'm when you're so focused on the code, you don't notice this kind of things. Then you start using your own product, and you're like, I didn't think about this enough on a user experience standpoint. Also, again, about the user experience, this is very long, but it's a placeholder. It's not the final version. So when you add the thing to the cart, you can pick another product, configure another product exactly like this one, or go to the shopping cart. the shopping cart is kind of unfinished yet. And again, it allowed we were kind of inspired from Amazon, that shows you kind of a row for each and every product, and you can see what you picked. Again, this is not polished, because you can see here it says erased. It's not in Italian, and it's not the same that it was in the page. I just dumped the information here to see that I'm actually doing the right thing, but yeah, we'll have to work on it. And if you go to edit, you are editing the one you had before. You see that the top part went away, so you just focus on changing what you had, and this became confirm changes. So you can confirm changes if they are in a not normal state. I called it a normal state when you fulfilled everything and you could buy the thing, because it's fully configured. If you ask for a print but you don't load an image, you are not in a normal state, so you can't confirm the changes. The state of this page is in database right now, so you are actually operating on a state that's persisted on a database, but it's not the same that is in the cart now, because you can see that this one didn't change. This is a copy which has a public ID, and this public ID is somehow related to the public ID of the original one, the public and I mean also the internal ID, the one that we don't expose in the front end for security reasons, of course. So when it's submitted, you know, it's a relational database. You can from this ID find the original one and just merge them, copy the changes to the original one. So for example, here we still have a I clicked the wrong thing. You still have him, but if I actually, let's make a change that does not involve loading an image. If I do this and change the quantity, confirm, I probably have some issue right now. Yeah, because I made some changes and they were not finished. Let me just revert what I did. Wait a sec. Git add and git stash push. So here we are. It should work now. Not very good to demo broken code. No, it's not. Oh well, we will start with some neat. State is a copy, only original allowed. Not really, man. It shouldn't be. Oh, let me see straight through it. I'm a bit rusty with this project because I wasn't working on it. I had personal issues that required attention, so it's a couple months I'm not touching this, and I will have to relearn the ropes. So let's do this. It's display case. What did I write? State is a copy. State is a copy. No, it's not here. Page data. Okay, it's in include page data age. State is a copy, only original allowed. If environment. Why is allowed state type original though? Allowed. I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired because I didn't sleep very much tonight. Page public ID. Page public ID. What is this function about? Let's see where it says grep -r page public ID. Yeah, down there. That was a bad idea. And I think I will go back. Public ID or exit, public ID. In display case, you have public ID or exit, which, by the way, I love so much. All the things that are supposed to be bad about go-tos and stuff like that, I'm actually enjoying. In PHP, you can exit the script even if you're down into a function, so you're not top level. Other languages require you to, I mean, they pass control to a function usually, which is a kind of a callback for the I don't know how to call it, the engine of your the framework. Maybe it's a framework. The framework is handling the request, how to say, under the hood, and then it's giving you control in a function which you implement and decides what will be the response. So you have to return from that function. If you are down in a nested function, I mean 1-2 levels down the stack, you will have to return and then return and then return from the top level function. And I mean, it can be kind of lame because it forces you to have return types from down below, or use try catches, which are, yeah, they are I don't know, I still have the feeling that they are ugly, but they work and they are exactly a legitimate go-to, so they could be fine. But I don't like to throw an exception for something that is something that I actually saw coming. It's an exception when I didn't see it coming. If I saw it coming and I programmed the actual behavior, it's not an exception. It's actual behavior. So maybe I'm too semantic about it, but still, I'd rather have a go-to. PHP is wonderful because look at this display case. In display case, I call page public ID or exit public ID or exit, which is my way of saying, you function, return the public ID for this thing, which this thing is I'm passing as the first parameter, let's say public ID or exit, the connection to the database, because the public ID is down in the database, so I need a handle for the database to query it. I'm passing the product key because this thing is pretty general among different products, but you need to know which product are you asking the public ID for. And here, for example, you're specifying that the only allowed state is original state. If you're not able to retrieve an original state and so have this thing be what I expect it to be, a string, exit, which means that you will not return from here. The execution will finish inside this function, which is here, by the way. Inside here is, here it is, page public ID. If the public ID from the URL is null and null is not allowed, you just throw you echo an error message, which is the one we saw here actually. Okay, and yeah, you shouldn't do this, but we are still developing. I don't want to be how to say, slowed down by how to call them. I'm missing the term now. Good practices that relate only to production environments. I mean, if this if this were an application that was supposed to no, eyewear. If this was an application that was supposed to run locally, there wouldn't be such a need of secrecy about what's going on the back end of the application. We won't have to. We don't want to tell the user what's going on the back end when in production, because if some black hat hacker tries to understand what's actually happening on the back end, if you feed them information, you're just helping them do their job, and you don't want that. But I'm developing, so it's very easy to just echo an error and read it in the response. So this function is just do what I'm expecting you to do, or echo something in the response and kill it. Don't even come back. So the top level is very clean, because I don't have to have all that boilerplate code that handles the error here and in all the other pages where I'm using this function, because the error handling is inside that function. And I didn't come to this conclusion up front by embedding the error handling inside and then finding out it was a good idea. I wrote the error handling code top level first in 3-4 pages, and then I found out it was always the same. So, as Casey Muratori said about his way of programming and I mean, it's kind of different because he's programming game engines, but it's kind of not different because programs are programs. I compressed it later when I saw it was desirable, because I had many examples of the thing repeating. It's kind of using the dry, do not repeat yourself paradigm. It's not a paradigm, it's a rule, but you don't wait to have just two things, twice the code duplicated around. You wait 3 times, 4 times. If it's 3-4 times, and also you have to use your best judgment and understand if pages are bound to be the same or are incidentally the same. If they are incidentally the same, you just don't want to collapse the code in one place, because they are likely to change in 2 different ways. But if the pages are kind of all the same because you're doing the very same thing, I mean, in this case, you have a page, you have the state that's associated with that page, and you have to retrieve the public ID for that page, which means in that branch like this, we are handling remove, delete from cart. And when are you deleting something from the cart? When you have a specific instance, so it's not a state that does not have a public ID. There must be the public ID in the front end for the user to click on a delete button and know, and you being able to tell the backend that you are trying to delete that specific instance of the state. So you are expecting a public ID on the backend, and this thing is very general. Every time you have a page with a state associated to that page, or simply a state, a piece of state of your application on the backend and you want to delete it, you have to pass down the public ID. So the front end will have to pass down the public ID. If you are trying to call this function, I call it a function, it's not a function, it's a scope or whatever. I mean, it's kind of a function. I just didn't call it with function, but it is. And you're not passing an ID, bad request, echo an error if you are in development, and exit, because you're not using my interface. I'm telling you that. My interface calls this method, I changed the name of it another time, calls this method with a public ID. If you are, I don't know, calling it with curl or postman, I must stop you. Unless you do exactly what the front end would have done. So I like it very much that this page, and what I was saying is that this thing is general. Every time you meet something that needs a public ID, you want it to return the public ID if the public ID is where it's supposed to be in the query string, which I guess I'm getting from here. You see, I have this other function, include state. No, it's not in include, it's here. State public ID from query string. And this could also make people kind of upset because, oh my god, you are down into a nested function. So we are down 2 levels and you are accessing a super global. You know what? It's a super global. That's what's supposed to do. If you abide to your rules, I mean, I could have called it here or here in the parameters and pass its value down. But I mean, it would be a little bit more boilerplate because it would require it to have this ID copied over. I mean, if I'm having 2 different pages, like you see, wait, CGI bean, let's say trophy, which is another product, and you have a delete, okay, which looks quite the same, as you can see. It's just a matter of constants. This is the less boilerplate I could keep having. I would have had at this point I don't know if my grammar is still right or not, but I mean something like this, ID from query string, okay, and then something like pass down, which is totally unnecessary because it not only it adds a line which is not that bad, but if I tomorrow decide that ID is not a good name for this thing in the query string, I now have 100 places scattered all around the website where to go and change this thing. I mean, you could be right and say just make a constant and pass the constant around. You're right. But I mean, I have twice the advantage by doing this thing here inside. Okay. Also because I get to pick very carefully what's the return type when the thing is not there. Because when the thing is not set, it's not null. It can be null, but it's usually not set. So if you try to use it, PHP throws an error, which I don't want. It's not something that I like. I like it to be null if it's not there, the thing it is when it's there. And this way I have one place where I can change the how do I mean, it's not one, because in the HTML it has to change two, but that's another problem. The backend code that expects that the front end is it has some ID in it, has one place where to change. Okay, I hope it's clear. I mean, I'm kind of circling it. I guess it's clear. Don't think I'm not bothered with having this kind of duplication, but trust me, this is standing the test of time. There are other things around here that I thought should be the same in one page and another, and then something changed, like okay, well, the trophies actually need to I don't know if I already handled that case. Then we will look for that bug, but the trophy has a few models, so different types, shapes to pick from, and then you configure it. And this thing is stored in the database too, because it will be multi-language and stuff, and also require image. I mean, there's where it lives. And this caused kind of major differences between one page and the other. So you don't want to compress stuff too soon, and sometimes you don't want it at all, because if you have to change something in 3 places, you won't lose so much time by changing it in 3 places. Just keep it in 3 places separately, and you will change it 3 times. Whereas if you try to compress it and it was not that straightforward to compress, you spend a lot of time compressing it, and then when it changes, but it doesn't change for all 3 of them, it changes just for one of them, you either have to put some ugly if inside your otherwise general code to distinguish for that specific case, or undo the compression you did. I'm still using the old name Casey created for it, semantic compression. You have to undo the abstraction and again make it 3 different things and then change the one. Unnecessary work. If you can keep track of all 3 of them, that's a bad practice, because you will forget. No, you won't forget if you are careful about your application, and if you live in your application and not only in your code, so you use it, you know the domain, you know where things are changing. And then there's also the thing of grabbing stuff and saying, wait, is this thing the same somewhere else? Doable, guys, it's doable, and it's the best way to have simple code that works, that's readable, that's bug free. It simply comes with less bugs, and you are also much more flexible, much more free to change stuff. If you let's put it in I want to tell you about I can't recall the name. Paragon. It's not Paragon. How do you call it? Epitome. No, it's not what I was looking for. It's kind of a rhetorical figure. I don't remember the name of it. I mean, look at this. that's not what I was expecting. When you are prototyping electronics, one way to make fast prototypes is wire wrapping. And that's the way they built the electronic circuits to go to the moon. And it proved so good that I may be mistaken, but I think they actually used it as the final form of the circuits that went into the actual spaceship. I don't know if spaceship in the rocket, in the module, in the lunar module and stuff like that. And this is good because you can take this pin, for instance, and link it with this pin here. This is very, very tidy, very neat. But if I find something, this is less tidy, still very tidy. I would like to show you what I used to build at school. It was not that good. These are final products. When you're prototyping, you're just, yeah, this is more like it. You're just taking point A and linking it with point B and make spaghetti. And while it's not good for maintenance, because then if you have to debug it, you need to have a separate schematic and be able to find which pin is which may require turning the PC, it's not a PCB, the board around, watching at the components, understanding which component are you referring to, and then turn it around again, unless you are so good that you number somehow the pins on the and the components on the back of your board, so it's easier to navigate. But then you have to follow the wires to understand if something is cabled properly or you did a mistake. You made a mistake. You know what this is? This is global state. When you are able to take a variable and use it everywhere in your code, that's this. And you know what? It is the easiest way to program. I'd rather have this kind of liberty and then create my set of rules of what I can do and what I cannot do, but be able to be this free if I need it, than to have a programming language that restrains my ability to take this and bring it to this point, because I have to jump through 5 hoops, because I'm injecting an object into another object, and this object does not have that variable as a member of it, so I should construct that object first with this member inside of it, so that this object can communicate with the object which he is injected in, and give him the variable which may live in a different module. So I was too eager to separate matters and create a boundary between 2 parts of the code and have the variable live in this module, and now I need this information to get here, and I made it extremely difficult. While it shouldn't be like that, because I mean, computers are memory and instructions operate on memory. If you allow the instruction to have full visibility on the memory, then you are in full manual mode, and you have to be very careful about not making concurrency problems and state that gets overridden and stuff like that. But I mean, You do that all the time. When you have a handler handles for the database and you can query the database, that's global state. And I don't see everyone tearing their pants off and say, no, you cannot query that table from here, just from there. So you have to go through this other API that I built to query that table, because this API is built to prevent you from doing bad things. Yeah, but maybe you didn't, you weren't able to foresee what was going to come. So I'd rather have it this way, especially when I'm not on the finished product. The parallelism, that's the word, I'm trying to build here is that this thing becomes a very neat and tidy PCB where all the tracks are parallel and easy to follow and stuff. And that's also because not because it's desirable, it's because the technical construction of the PCB is made like that. You can't have, I mean, if you have just one layer, you can't have bridges, jumps, one track over the other. You have to run parallel, and that makes it more ordered. But then probably you will have jumpers on the other side. It is what it is. Or you have a multi-layer PCB, and then you have jumps and you don't even see them. So the final product is more unchangeable because it's printed. You just have the copper there, and unless you cut the track, the wire, and then use jumpers to do something different, you are not able to change it anymore. This can change. This can change all the day, all the time you want, because you just take the component out. You see, you take the component out from you unwrap the wire from it. You take the component out, move it, wrap new wires, rewire it in a different way, and it can change. This is code. Code should be like this, especially when you're developing. And since code is never kind of finished, and if you know your code well, you don't have to build how do you call it, architectural barriers. That's exactly it. It's not even something that I invented now, because we are talking about code architecture and separating some code from some other code so that they cannot freely share data, but you need to move through an API. It's an architectural barrier. If you are the owner of the code, you don't need architectural barriers. They're bad for you. If you are in a workshop and you have, I mean, here your lathe, and back there an hydraulic press, and here you have your hammer and your anvil, you don't want corridors to go from one thing to the other that make you walk more than what's needed. Of course, the path you will have inside the workshop will be chaotic, of course, but it was never the point to make it look tidy like the gardens of Versailles. I guess. Yeah, I mean, this has aesthetic purposes, but if you have to get from point A to point B when you're walking inside one of it's just lame. It's preventing you from moving decently. Okay, it's a labyrinth. Not that you are supposed to walk inside here, of course, but you get the gist, or gist. I don't know. Let things be what they need to be. We are not. I mean, you are trying to prevent developers from go here and there by putting up barriers. I know that, because the moment you create a class and say this is private, you are telling your fellow coworker, man, this method shouldn't be called from outside. But you don't need the feature to be inside the code. You can just leave a comment and say, don't call this from outside. Because you know what? It's the same. If your coworker wants to make that method public and call it, he will do it. There's no way to stop someone that has ownership on the code from being stupid. Just teach them not to be stupid if they're not expert yet. Expert in programming if they're junior, or expert on your code base if they're seniors, but not seniors in your code base. If you know that thing is not supposed to be there, just tell them, because that's the only way they can grow and learn to reason about your code the same way you reason about your code. Adding infrastructure in the programming language didn't do any good, and instead ended up putting up barriers for us too. So we're like, oh god, it was better before because I could just walk from the lathe to the hydraulic press. Now I have to jump through these useless hoops while carrying the thing I'm working on my shoulders. I mean, total nonsense. That said, I feel like talking today. I feel a lot like talking. We had this problem where I'm clearly working on a public thingy, but when I try to confirm my changes, it says that this is not a copy, and the call is a post. Where is the header? Wait a sec. It's a get, it's a post. I don't remember where I see it. I guess it's a post. Yeah. So, or patch actually. Patch. Nullable public ID or exit. Product storage state or exit. Patch must be working on. No, maybe it's not patch. Wait a sec. See, well, wait I'm not even in the right script. What's her name again? Cart. Again, I'm sorry, I'm a bit rusty. Here is post, but there's a comment, so it's here. Why is it a get though? Maybe it's not, huh? Give me a sec. Here it is. It was hidden. It's a get. It shouldn't be a get. It shouldn't be a get because we are not getting. We are telling the server. So there's something wrong there. Is it maybe? Display case. Why are we getting instead of form? There's no form here. Section products. Split. Include display case. Render form. Here we are. X. Ajax method. Edit mode. If it's not null, public state ID. Get. Why is that? Why get? This is wrong. I think it's post. No, it's not post, it's patch. Patch should be patch. It turned out okay, but it didn't show what I wanted it to show. There's an error here. Undefined array key quantity. There's something very sketchy here. To cart handle state update patch. You see, patch is the right thing, so we want patch. The issue here is that we're not passing down the quantity. Oh, okay, cool. We're not passing down the quantity. Well, we should be because it's in the patch. I won't explain how I achieved to have a super global for patch 2 because it's not a super global, and yeah, it's kind of a hack. But I really wanted it, so I did it, and I don't have any regret. Why is there is no patch there? No quantity. Display case, render part 1, render part 2. Render contact form, render price box. The quantity is in the price box, which is this part here. You can see it here. So why isn't it going down? Render price box. Render price box in product, so I have to actually. That's one of the latest things last things I touched before before stopping the development. So here's the issue, if you ask me. Add to cart button. Here you can see conferma modifiche, which is confirmed changes. And the form is config. So I mean, quantity should. I don't remember it quite well. Quantity. Yeah, well, it's here. I get it. Render price box regular quantity. Yeah, it gets passed down here. I mean, there's no way this button here is outside the form. Is it? Yeah, because the form is inside here. So the button that confirms the changes is here, and will tell the form to submit the changes with patch. You can see that the quantity is not here, and even if it was there, I don't want to send. I mean, it used to work. Why? What the hell happened? Wait a sec. Sorry. My nephew wanted to call me. um, what I was saying is that there is a way with HTMX, which I'm kind of rusty. You see, Ajax target body. There's a way to include values. I mean, CMD confirmation. Wait a sec. Handle view edit request. That shouldn't be like that. That's not the. There's something very. I think I broke something. Wait a sec. Get the CGI bin trophy. What did I change here? Yeah. I mean. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? It shouldn't have all this stuff in the query string. I tell you. No way we call get on the cart first of all, and no way we have all that stuff in the query string. So there's something to change here. Render price box. Regular. Render form. This is not supposed to be here. This is supposed to be here. When you're patching, you're not calling cart, you're calling display case. Yeah. I had a brain fart when I wrote that code, and it was 2 months ago, so maybe 3. So I kind of expect it to be broken. XH patch. Yeah, sorry. Patch state update. But remove from cart. It's not well. Patch is not right, because patch means that you are changing. Patch is what's called from here when you click here or interact with this part of the page. When you're submitting, you're actually posting, because you're replacing or putting maybe you're putting, because you're replacing the entire thing. So probably that should have been put in cart, and there's no put here. So I used patch, handle state update, server request method patch, product key, public ID, quantity. This is what bothers me. I mean, that's okay, but the quantity is not where I expect it to be. If edit mode, hx method patch, and I leave a comment here that says probably put should be the one, because there's some semantic difference between putting and patching as per HTTP. This comment must go, we said. This is right. We missed the quantity. We missed the quantity, and the quantity should be in patch. So we have to I'll tell you what's my problem. We could put in the form a hidden parameter with the quantity, so that when the payload, which is now not what I expect it to be. Wait a sec. The payload would be you see the payload is this one right now. Base, light base, basic graphics front, base graphics right, and so on and so forth. Which somehow is missing parts, I guess. No, maybe not. They're just if they are checkboxes, you don't see them there. Here we could have the quantity as a hidden field, but that means that when I change the quantity here, which is changing the quantity, this is another form, a different form. When you submit this form, you should have updated this quantity in that form either. And I don't know if I like it, because I mean, this form calls the cart down, which responds with you can see it exactly this component, because this component here is this component, and you should have a side effect changing some HTML in some other part of the page. So it's piggybacking, I guess it's called, if I recall it right. Okay, yeah. We may go down that route, actually. We may go down that route. Either that or let's see if this is possible. Okay, Ajax include I know about, But can I tell one form to include the value from another form? I don't think so. Well, I guess the first thing I said was the fastest. You just have to do this. Let's say we are changing the quantity, so there must be where's the price box? I can't find the price box. I just have to go through this pain. I know it's a pain for you too, but I'm really rusty with this project. Unbelievable. Okay, so it's here actually. Render price box. Which is here. Out of band swap, which is not used, I guess. Yeah, it is. I should return something like this. Right? Or even better, and then, sorry, but too much zoomed in. I can't see anything. Let me think. Here we should have a hidden input like this. I don't remember if quantity is in the state display case helmet, which is not here, of course. Yeah, in fact. Yeah, we have it. Very nice. So, this way, let me say, I'm rendering this guy here. Balloon. I guess that's a typo. Product.age. Ah, okay. It's right here in front of my eyes. He's not very enthusiastic about this. Not my priority right now. In this form here, we should. Oh god, look at that. It's kind of hidden, but not hidden. While the value isn't displayed to the user in the page's content, it is visible and can be edited. I mean, it should be hidden actually. Okay. He's actually right. Look at him. And look at this. No. Well, actually, no. And define the array key quantity. I know why. Because I didn't finish my job. Name quantity. I guess that's it. Look at this and look at this. This is a new price box, which is not what I expected because there should be I mean, when you do this, this comes up. And that happens. Why? Oh, wait. That's probably what am I calling here when I click this button? Display case. Let's say we are posting. Okay, so you're posting not images, you're well, it's in cart, it's always in cart, it's not here. You're posting and you're posting render added to cart model. So this returns the model, and why does it know where to go? The backend renders it, and the form Ajax target body HSO before end, puts it before end. So even in this case it should put it here, and it did, except from the fact that it did not respond with the right thing. There we should not render quantity, render article, total price. Why are we doing that? State retrieve, state update. That's just changing the quantity. Wait a minute. That's just changing the okay. We are using the wrong endpoint, because we are just calling this, you see, the same thing that we're calling here, and that's stupid, I guess. wait. Okay, I'm kind of getting it. We don't have to call card patch, because patch for the card is already called when you are dealing with the quantity widget, which is this guy here. You see, the quantity widget is this widget here, which has a form to perform a minus. So this part here means minus, it's a form, and this part here is another form. The minus sends down a value which is quantity minus 1, the other quantity plus 1, and the URL is product URL, which is passed inside render price box. So this is what happens when you have too general of a code. You have to jump around like a headless chicken. We were watching at display case render price box, actually. So you will have slash display case, which is the product URL. Yeah, not what I expected. With or without the public site ID. I'm pretty sure this thing here is not even for this one. It's, you know, here, and it's broken. Everything's broken. I don't know. It shouldn't have. I remember it much more resilient. Let's say I do it again. Go here, edit. I mean, whatever. Look at this. What happened here? Okay, that's better. Does it work for any of the others? Because if it works here, for instance, you need to load an image. So we could do something like this. Wait. Let's prepare an image somewhere. I have the picture that the perfect picture. Let me just this is the image we want to work with. Here. I mean, I didn't show you the image, but I can do it right now. It's Tom Hanks. For no particular reason. Even that is broken. I'm really positive it used to work. Okay, this is just a problem of permissions. Wait. Hold on. It's TMP. Where is it? Permission denied in the upload. Okay. This is very strange. Should I make a directory? I mean, not that it changes much. I want to see the error. Here we are. Upload. And here's the guy which is not here, or is it? It's not. So, I mean, we are just dealing with local stuff, so let's do this. Read, yeah. Either this or I make the, well, whatever. Here we are. And there goes the image, because if I show you, what the hell happened here? Okay. If I go down to git risalto upload, well, it will be a little bit difficult to find out which image is the one we are working with, but it's not impossible. State This guy here is box panel. Box panel. Right, one. Internal ID is one. So file IoT. Funnily enough. I guess paint will do. Yeah. So that worked. That worked. I don't have any particular certainty anymore. It's starting to get dark here, or is it me? Yeah, better. Not very much. Let's change the. Yeah, this tells you that if you change the width of the panel after you uploaded a graphic file, some graphics, you will have to re-upload a file because it's supposed to be a different format. So yeah, makes sense. Let's add it to the cart and let's go to the cart. Here we have the panel. Let's change the quantity. It didn't. It's broken. Even this is broken. But what if this works? Oh no, wait. This works, but what if I click here? It doesn't work. This is some refactoring that went wrong, and now I have to fix it. I have to fix it. And yeah, you know, I know you realized that way before me, but I'm finding it particularly difficult to stream, think, tell you, and then keep track of what I have to do. I'm definitely gaining so much respect for those who do it on a regular basis. You need to be very multitasking, and it's killing me. And also, it's almost time, because I told them that at 8:30 I would have finished. So let's see if we are able just to fix that one thing. I need to understand which endpoint should I call when I confirm some changes, and how. Also, changing the quantity shouldn't be needed, actually, because the quantity is changing synchronously when you do this, then when you confirm your change. So that was not the right endpoint. Okay, we have something more than before. Yeah, wait, let's git stash pop. Let's say we focus on our friend here. I mean, it's the same because everyone calls the same place. Every page refers to the same function to handle that thing because I unified them. So let's say CGI bean panel. It's not panel. It's I don't remember, actually. Box panel, right? Box panel. And let's say you are working with I think it's here. I think it's no, I think it's in cart. Because when you submit something to the cart, you are posting it to the cart. So it's here. You see, here you have edit mode. Updating cart. Well, it was easy, actually. I lost myself in a glass of water. I don't know if it's a way. You can say that in English, but in Italian it's a saying. Let's say HTTP docs. No. Let's say we go here. You have a product render price box. Yeah. Wait a sec. Okay, no, it's the form. It's the form. It's the form. We have to work on the form. Where's the form? Render header, box panel, render form. So let's say we go to box panel, render form. Here, it's always post. The only thing that changes is that product key and ID. So actually we'll stay like this because we both change the title and the method. But the method, not the method, the URL, but the method can be outside here. Let's see. Let's proceed and let's say we just upload the same image again. We don't care, and we change this. I'm sorry. And we confirm, and it's not working. I'm starting to get mad. Let's see if we're actually passing here. I mean, yes, we do. Here we stated original. While it's not true. It's not true. It's not supposed to be that. See, I'm starting to... Both. This should be both. And because you must be able to post something with a public ID. Yeah. Doesn't make much sense. I'm kind of... I'm thinking that when you are posting the original state, how are you supposed to, I mean, public ID from URL, if you have the public ID, it's not the original. It's not the original you're posting. You can never have the original here. It will always be a copy. Because the moment you are working on an original, it does not have the public ID in the query string. Look at this. Panel, okay, this is an original state. It's not a copy we are working on because it's not even being added to the cart yet. And in fact, you don't have ID here. So when you get down here, page nullable public ID or exit, which returns page public ID with not allowed true. it will return null. I mean, yeah. Nullable public ID or exit. Yeah, null is allowed. It will return null because there's nothing in the query string. So when you get here, this is public ID from URL is null. So you enter this place here and the public ID is null. When you're visiting this page and you are in edit mode, so you have an ID, this can't be an original because we never let the user change the original. So, okay, this was perfectly wrong. And also, since this string here, allowed state type makes sense if and only if the state we're talking about has been retrieved from what the hell? If you okay, I must admit, this live is telling me the way I went down with this project is probably not that good, because I quite never touch my code after a lot of time and have this kind of difficulty and understanding what's going on the other project I'm mainly working on. So there's something bad, inherently bad here, because there are too many assumptions going on. Meaning that, for example, here dbcon can be null, and the fact that it is not null means validate ID. And if you're wanting to validate an ID, you must have set the product key, which means you can not set the product key before. I'm confused. I managed to confuse myself. It's incredible. Me from the past is confusing my present self. If the beacon is set to validate the ID, okay, because maybe there are sometimes you don't need to validate it. You just trust it. I don't think so. And then here this is where we are hitting our head. State is a copy, only original allowed. Also, both is never used. Where is it? I mean, I'm a criminal. Let me take out my notes, because I probably left this thing unfinished and wrote something about it. I cannot believe I have been so sloppy. I really don't believe it. I have some notes here. Cart patch changes the quantity. It can happen for copies too. Yeah, well, I don't see anything useful here. So there's that. Let's say if a validation result state exists, we go here or here, but there's no both. So we could do something like this and said I mean, there's no else, because here we are saying that we want to validate the ID. We validate the ID, so we check if it exists, if there is some state in the backend that has that ID specifically. If the state does not exist, it means the validation went wrong. So we redirect people on failure if we set the redirect URL, or we respond 400 if we didn't set the redirect URL. If the only allowed state type is original, and we found that the state after validation, the state is a copy, redirect if we wanted to redirect on failure, or bad request if we wanted to say bad request on failure. Then if it's a copy, if only copies are accepted and the state is not a copy, again same thing. So this is not meant to be here. We just return the public ID if the validation is okay and both is selected. Okay, this function was right. So here, specifying both, we will have the public ID. Also, even if we specify, instead of both, we specify copy, we will get the public ID. I'm wondering, yeah, we could say copy, because the original case is handled by the fact that we are passing that there's nothing in the query string. So that's how it's done. You get the public ID, and now I'm curious to see this. What's doing? What is it doing? What is it doing? SRC cars? No, it's not in SRC. Is in state. So yeah, state. Updating cart. Oops. What is updating cart doing? I remember this one. I think it's right. Yep. This one's right. Yeah. Boom. I did it. I did it. So let's say cloth and 100, okay? Edit. From cloth we go to the debond, and from 100 we go down to 50 and reload the image. Still no changes. I mean, if I go to the cart here, still no changes. Still cloth, still 100. Okay. I submit. I refresh this. I look at the changes, and it didn't work. Oh god, why? Something went wrong. I didn't do it. I thought I did it, but I didn't do it. So now we're working on the guy that starts with S, capital E. So the fact of saving the public ID as a binary is not not very accessible, actually. But it's this one, because it's the only one that's a copy and it's opened in edit mode, so it's him, and it is a copy of this guy. And as you can see, it didn't change the material at all. It changed the width though. There's something sketchy going on here. Everything's broken. It wasn't that broken. I really don't understand why it's that broken now. Oh god. Well, we have some work to do for the next next stream. We will have to go step by step and log what's happening on the back end and fix it, because that's the only, I mean, here it's saying, yeah, I did it, debond to 150, but well, actually, debond to 150. Am I stupid? Am I just stupid? Am I tired? Okay, cloth 100, no file. That's perfect. I load this file. Cloth 110. Perfect. I say 3. Okay, this must go. This must explode. I say 3. Quantity changed to 3. I say confirm. And it's being copied here. Also, I expect the file with ID 8 to be, yeah, deleted. It's working. I'm just tired. Cart. Cloth 200. Okay. Which means let's try it. Lights on the base. Let's say the copy is down here. Lights on the base. Lights on the base. Okay. Must be carried over on an original one. This didn't work. No. This had some issue. And why is that? Is it any different from the display? I mean, that thing that I changed was in cart, right? Yeah, that was in cart. So cart is universal. Box panel. Well, actually, yes, because if I go to display case and go to render form, here we are still doing the wrong thing. This one must be post. So this is wrong. And this one is okay. This one is okay. Yeah, yeah. Looking good. Looking good. So if I refresh this and then confirm, boom, it worked. And if I go to the cart and we have lights on the base. We have lights on the base. Let's say I put an image here and confirm and go to the cart. And we have the image on the panel. Perfect. We accomplished something. I'm satisfied. I want in a sad mood. I'm kind of pumped because okay, we are getting back to it. So let me check my calendar, but next stream should be, I'm gonna tell you in a moment. Let's see. Monday. Oh well, maybe we'll see if I'm in a mood to come and do something on Sunday. But if I'm not, Monday, 9:30 p.m. Central European. It's Central European time. I'm not even sure. Rome. It's Central European time. No, it's not. Central European. I don't even know in what time zone I live. I mean, yes, it is. So 9 p.m. Central European time, which should be, I mean, you can compute it from here, but it should be kind of 8 hours difference with the West Coast. No, yeah, West Coast, and 5 hours difference from the East Coast. I'm curious. I'm doing this for me. UTC -4. I'm UTC +1. I think, right? I'm UTC +1, +2. So it's 6 hours with the Eastern time zone. 7, 8, 9 with the Pacific. 7 plus 2, 9. Okay, 9. So there's that. Thank you for joining me. Probably, especially with the people in past broadcast, if there will be any of you. And see you on the next stream. Bye bye.